Hey, good morning, everybody. It's early mornings, LALATE. It's a good morning. It's Thursday morning here, and I hope you are good and safe. Big news about your stimulus, your second stimulus, your third stimulus. Incredible jaw-dropping, rapid-fire news that came out yesterday after we were trying to still, filter through the political news. But this is categorically incredible, great news. It's a great day to start Thursday morning, and I'm so glad you're here. This is Early Mornings LALATE. Good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LALATE, the 6 a.m. edition. Every day here on LALATE. 30 minutes from now will be part 2 at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm so glad you joined us. It's a great day. It's Thursday morning. Almost made it to the weekend. Can you imagine it's the weekend already? It just felt like we just were on the weekend. But, it's incredible. Great news. I'm so glad you joined in to this morning's broadcast. The toast is toast and the butter is butter. And I'm here. You are here. But have you subscribed? If you have not subscribed, go to the Fuzz channel and subscribe. Because I'm going to change it up. We're going to have a lot of different shows. Last night was the debut of our new show, Being a Mitch, and it was a very well-received show, so thank you for tuning in for that. And we're just keeping it easy breezy. So make sure you subscribe and also hit the alert button on the Fuzz channel so you do not miss a video at all. Also like this video, it's helping. The videos are appearing high in the rankings. Oh, and if you're new to Early Mornings LA, look to the right, look to the right. I don't mean the supermoon, there's no supermoon today. It is the live chat. Yes, this is an instant premiere, so there's a live chat as this video is debuting. If you're tuning in at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when this show debuts, there's a live chat. You can chat with your pooper power buddies. You can chat about my teeth and my hair, and everything else you want to be chatting about. Mitch's new stimulus focus and more. It's so exciting. So I'm so glad you're here. It's a great day. We're going to have a lot of fun today, a lot of broadcasting, and last night was a big one, of course. So thank you for joining. And let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as we start today is that all eyes are on stimulus. Congress's eyes are on stimulus. The Federal Reserve's eyes are on stimulus. Wall Street's eyes are on stimulus. And, if you can get that bad hairdo out of your eyes can be on stimulus as well if you're from the San Francisco hair salon. So I'm so glad you're joining me. If you did not catch what I broke yesterday on Afternoons LALATE, midday was the shocking announcement from Mitch McConnell. By all accounts, at the time of this recording, Mitch McConnell is your new Senate Majority Leader. He was confirmed that midday yesterday, and after the Republicans clearly maintained control of the House, of the Senate, despite all the predictions to the contrary. And he came out and said the first item of business is sending out stimulus. Wow. First item of business is sending out stimulus, getting a stimulus package done, getting a vote for the stimulus package, and negotiating. This is incredible, great news. So I'm going to go over what you should expect and what you should see for that in the next couple of days, and we'll have more clarity about it because I know that those comments just resonated everywhere when Mitch made them. He basically said that we cannot keep on doing our way of the highway, and that basically what America is owing is a conciliatory agreement. And this is categorically incredible because going into Tuesday, the Temple of Doom had predicted that basically she could capture the Senate, spent a fortune on trying to capture the Senate, try to get Mike Bloomberg to spend billions of dollars on the Senate, wouldn't do it. And that ultimately her way and highway didn't work. And so Mitch says, you know what, I want to send out stimulus. I want to get it going out right now. So where you sit now is the renewed optimism, but also an empty blueprint, which is incredibly great news. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Basically, Mitch is starting from scratch. And we love scratch because we can come in and start scratching scratch for those dollar bills. Mitch is saying, let's start over, because Temple of Doom's thing is ridiculous. No one agreed to anything she wanted. Steve Mnuchin may no longer be the negotiator for the situation anymore. And that basically, we're going back to square one. So, hashtag MSC, hashtag FPUC. Multiple stimulus checks, bigger stimulus checks. By all accounts, your new president may be Joe Biden, and your new VP may be Ms. Harris. And Senator Harris wrote the bill for multiple stimulus checks, $2,000 every month for 6 months until the pandemic goes down or unemployment goes away. Neither events have occurred. She also said emphatically on Chris Hayes in an interview in the spring, in May, when the pandemic was just hitting, that no one could survive on $1,200 a month. So she set the benchmark for the presidency. $1,200 is not a sufficient number, so let's keep it going. The power of the purple power was absolutely categorically important on election night. Seats for stimulus worked. You did that. Republicans and Democrats, both the Senate and House, were not reelected incumbents because of seats for stimulus. And so you need to continue the push. There's no other community outlet there like this. And the bigger you make this community, the more powerful it becomes. What's important to understand is you're owed multiple stimulus checks since the spring all the way up to the present, and that just brings you to the present. Then you're owed FPUC from July to the present. PUA is expiring. PEUC is expiring. UI weeks are expiring. Eviction moratorium is expiring. Mortgage forbearance is expiring. And so all these things, you can't go upon the Temple Doom's bill because her bill's written to everything expire in a few weeks. So who uses a bill where things just expire in a few weeks? There's two ways that Mitch may approach this, as either doing a second stimulus and a third stimulus bill, two different bills, or just putting them together and having a very comprehensive period. Mitch has done things in the past, which we are not going to forget. But in the same regard, we're going to try to change the narrative very quickly. Mitch, of course, has left out stimulus checks before. We certainly know that. We're not going to forget it. Mitch has asked for FPUC at $200 a week and $300 a week. We're not going to forget that. Ultimately, I would expect $400 a week for FPUC. I would expect a bigger stimulus check than $1,200. And I would expect these people to realize, because I got to realize it soon, that stimulus relief that ends in December is not sufficient because we're facing lockdowns. We're facing lockdowns across different parts of this country. What's important to understand is that's just Mitch. And then there's Jerome. Who's Jerome? Well, Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, will be testifying before Congress today and tomorrow. Two-day conference, and he will be asked about stimulus, which he categorically believes should be sent out. Second stimulus, he's not even on the third stimulus yet. And he has said before and will say when asked that the stimulus that needs to be sent out is stimulus that goes into your hands, not into someone else's hands. And this is where Mitch is getting at, is that ultimately that stimulus relief that the Temple of Doom proposed, which was not stimulus relief, that was basically salary raises for government officials who already make six figures a year, needs to be removed from this bill. If you want to give them salary raises, fine. That's another bill. That's not stimulus. That's not anything. That has nothing to do with the economy. Don't put this in a stimulus bill. And when you take those things out, you actually do get a $1.5 trillion bill, which is what the problem solvers wrote, which is what Lindsey Graham, Republican Senate reelected, supported. That's what Mitch McConnell at some points has supported. So why not get this bill at a 1.5 and then throw in another stimulus check to bring it to 1.8 and you're done? Or bring it, a bigger stimulus check to 1.9, three stimulus checks to 1.9. It's so simple. And that's how we push the envelope. Looking at stocks and the Wall Street and their reaction, they have been pushing for stimulus, and they're going to push it very, very loud and clear. They talked about it all day yesterday, but not as much because they were dealing with the other issues, which is sort of coming off the map. First, election uncertainty is sort of basically at this point gone from the discussions of, oxygen of broadcast news. Second, contested elections, you're going to hear it. I mean, you're going to hear it, but it's really not the focus of Wall Street. Third, what Wall Street is really focused on is second stimulus and COVID-19 cases, which currently we're not hearing that big spike that we saw a few days ago. It may have flattened out, but they are certainly worried that the numbers are going to continue to surge. They're also looking at the bond market, which I told you is very indicative of where we are on stimulus. If you see the bond market trending upward, the 10-year note, that means they think stimulus is going to get passed. The fact that it's down does not mean it's down. Ed Keon, Chief Investment Strategist at QMA, overnight said, you see the 10-year bond is quite down a bit. The NASDAQ is up a bit. The low interest rates, growth stocks are moving. That does not mean that stimulus is not coming once the bond rate is down, though. It just means that there's something else involved today. What's interesting is that the thought that the Senate would go Democratic had caused healthcare, communications, and others and technology to plummet. But yesterday they surged. So I'm sure you're wondering why, because this ultimately affects jobs. It affects the economy. It affects a lot of things. It's because, unbeknownst to viewers of the channel, because I don't really cover it, there was a real big move by some Democrats to regulate big tech and big business in the last few weeks, just very recently. I don't know why they did it right before election. It just doesn't sound very electable, an idea. We're going to break up businesses in a pandemic, and please reelect me. Hello? So that was very scary to Wall Street and a lot of people because it hurts jobs, it hurts the economy. Ultimately, you want the economy to be strong. You don't want the economy to be weak because it won't support the stimulus. And that now is no longer a worry. And that's what's really good. COVID is an insidious, invisible element that more or less blankets everything that will happen this holiday season. There's a concern about where consumer spending is. You're going into Black Friday sales the next few days, and we'll start to see the impact of Black Friday sales, lack of stimulus on Black Friday sales. You know, the retail sales numbers were doing well in recent weeks, but that was based upon first stimulus. And the concern is that some big box stores may really show the first implications of no stimulus as retail sale numbers come out. Of course, today is Thursday, and you know what Thursday means. Thursday means that we're going to get the new jobless claims number. Last week was the best number since the pandemic hit. It was in the mid 700,000. So where will we be today? A lot of people have been critical about that number because the number correlates to people going off of UI and onto PUA to get benefits. With a GOP majority, the expectation for stimulus is getting dialed back, means smaller, which is a good part of why yields are plummeting. That's before Mitch McConnell made those remarks. But you see what Wall Street's looking to is how big the stimulus package will be. And so now they're looking at the Republicans saying, well, it's not $3 trillion. Joe Biden wanted a $7 trillion bill to build freeways. That is never going to happen with a Republican Senate. But then there's Jerome Powell, the next item of this morning's broadcast. What's happening with Jerome Powell today? Boy, that's a biggie. We talked all last 2 nights ago on the 4.5-hour live chat on election night about your prices, about how much your eggs are, about how much your milk is, about how much your food is. And we all talked about how it's impacting you. And I said, well, Jerome Powell was asked about this several weeks ago. He said, well, inflation's good. We have stimulus and inflation's good, and we're going to have more stimulus so we can deal with some inflation. No, we're not getting the stimulus. And now the inflation's really kicking in, or some viewers said the price gouging. So Powell himself has made very clear the important thing is to get cash back into people's hands. He has yet to comment on what he'll be saying today, and Thursday and Friday. But I think a market negative, again, the fact of rhetoric reinforces the limited effectiveness of the federal tools box. With the GOP majority, there's expected to be those series of questions today. So that's what's really important, because Jerome Powell is your cheerleader for stimulus. He has always been your cheerleader for stimulus. And without his cheering, you lose a very big backer for your stimulus. What's important to understand is that If Mitch is your chief negotiator, well, the Temple Doom's going to lose a couple hair strands because she has always said she doesn't want to negotiate with him. She has always said it's just sort of my way, here I am and take it or leave it. She literally has said, don't come back to me unless. All that sort of talk is going to be gone. But what's also gone is a little bit of this playing out. The election's not out of the woods. The market needs to take a breather and take a relaxation, said Jeremy Siegel. The tax increase was another thing that what people was very anxious about. It was impacting stimulus and it was impacting the stock market. Joe Biden had called for a big tax increase for people of an economic level higher. And that bill is nowhere going to get passed now with the Senate being Republican. So a lot of the plans that Joe Biden wished to pass may not ever see the light of day. And this is why Wall Street was trending up. The fear of taxes being raised is not going to happen. The fear of regulation or breaking up of businesses that could impact your stimulus, not going to happen. And investors have correctly gotten comfortable with the dichotomy between the real economy and the situation. And so there you go. What's interesting is that people are really dialed in on stimulus and not dialed in on this the other issues that are out there, like contested elections. The president's team has now filed litigation in several states, claiming irregularity in ballot collecting and things like that. But for purposes of your stimulus, and this is where I'm really focused on, those stories appear to be not dominating news compared to stimulus. And that's a great news. Coming up next on the continuation of Early Mornings LA, I will go over Mitch's actual comments, see what he said, and we'll go over numbers and calculations and routing times. All really exciting news. And it's all important because now that we have clarity, now we can start focusing on going forward. If you've not gone to the first channel, subscribe. It's going to be a great morning. I thank you for joining for Early Mornings LA. Sorry I did not deliver this yesterday, the day after election night, which, recorded to the middle of the evening. But I'm so glad to be back with you, and we'll stay here as well. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at LA for more.